I want 6 more seasons of what they showed us in this episode, Axe and Grind. I'm talking about Jimmy and Kim scamming and romancing. I think it is safe to say that we are reaching the height of their relationship. There was a lot of showing in this episode. Characters showing other characters different things. We saw Lalo show Casper a business card. We saw the vet show Jimmy and Kim his little black book. The PI showed Howard some photographs. Howard showed Cheryl his fancy coffee. And Jimmy and Kim showed us Omaha Beach. There was also a lot of putting on of shows. Like we saw Kim's mother put on a show to get her out of trouble. We saw Kim put on a show for Clifford, Maine. Jimmy put on a show for Kim as a test subject. Actually for Kim and himself, I suppose. And Francesca put on a show on the phone for Jimmy. I'm G, and this is the G-Spot. The episode opening was very exciting. We got to see a young Kim again. We get a close-up of her tapping her foot. We got a close-up of adult Kim tapping her foot in this season, episode Hit and Run, when she's waiting for Clifford, Maine for lunch. Kim's mother and the manager of the store come in and quickly explain why Kim is there. Kim's mother puts on a really big show for the store manager. We're just not aware at the time that she is putting on a show. And we see when Kim exits the store, it's just her and the manager at first, and then her mother comes behind later. They left out what was happening with her mother. As Kim and her mother are walking away, Kim takes her mother's hand. And this is really a heartfelt moment. Young Kim was in a situation where basically all of her power was taken away and people were going to dictate to her what is going to happen to her. And then there is a really heartbreaking moment, which is when Kim's mom just pulls her hand out of Kim's hand. It's shocking to Kim. You see Kim's hand is just left hanging there in the air and she just gets this look on her face like, what's going on? And then her mother breaks into laughing about the line she gave the manager, nip it in the bud, because she thought it was such a great line for the show that she put on. It's at this point that we realize she was putting on a show, and I imagine that young Kim also realizes that she was putting on a show. This in itself is shocking, but then we get in the car, oh my, and the mother pulls out the necklace and shows Kim that she ended up stealing the earrings and necklace anyway. And it is at this moment where any other question we have about Kim and her behavior is answered. What she learned in that moment is still screwing her up to this day. After the huge warning from the manager and the one stipulation that it not happen again, Kim's mother stole the earrings and necklace anyways. And she really taught Kim a dangerous lesson that day. She taught Kim, you never, ever, ever stop that day. And it certainly explains her past actions in this series. So the question becomes, how much did these earrings mean to Kim? What was that moment like for Kim? What did she take away from it? And come to find out, the earrings meant a whole lot to Kim, because we could see in this last shot of the episode, Kim is still wearing those earrings. I can't comment on the necklace because I'm not sure. Kim does wear a very simple necklace, but I can never get a shot of the pendant, and I didn't get a shot of the pendant when her mother gave it to her. So I'm not sure if it's the same necklace. But Kim is still wearing those same earrings. She had them on in this episode. And then I have to say, when I saw him wearing them in this episode, I said, you know, pretty sure I've actually seen these earrings on Kim before. And I really wanted to see exactly, I wanted to see, have we seen these earrings on Kim before? But I thought, man, how much film am I gonna scan through to find these earrings on Kim. And I was trying to debate whether this was something I wanted to take on, and then it hit me, and I was like, I know exactly where to go to find these earrings on Kim. So I went to the very first episode of this series, the very first time we lay eyes on Kim, and Kim had the earrings on. We see these earrings on Kim before we know who she is or even know her name. They're like the very first thing about Kim that they show us. The way this scene played out was kind of interesting. We see Casper, and we can connect in our heads that we're going to see Lalo from what we've seen in this past season. But when we cut to Lalo, he is just speeding down a road towards Casper. They completely cut out the part where Lalo goes to the store where that ruler was made and asks questions and figures out who ordered the ruler and how he can find that person who happened to be Casper. But point being, they kind of cut right in the middle of what's going on with Lalo, almost like they left the setup of this scene out. It particularly stuck out to me because when we cut to Lalo, he is just speeding down a road. Lalo shows up. Casper immediately realizes he's in danger. He runs off and hides. He tries to get the drop on Lalo, and he initially does, but then Lalo kind of puts a show on and shows Casper the business card. He has a razor blade behind it, and he ends up getting the jump on Casper. Unfortunately, poor Casper lost his foot in this altercation. It was really kind of nasty. Lalo didn't really have any time for it. He has some questions for Casper. So Lalo is still in Germany. I would imagine that he considers his business done after he interviews Casper. We do not see Gus in this episode. We only see Mike. It's an interesting confrontation between Tyrus and Mike. We've seen them confront each other before in the trailer with Gus when it came down to what they were going to do with Nacho's father. And Mike once again stood his ground. He showed Tyrus that he's going to stand his ground and that Tyrus doesn't really intimidate him. We then see Mike visiting Stacy and Kaylee as much as he can. He's trapped in hiding. As we said, Mike does show Kaylee how to locate stars in the sky. And we also see that Kaylee and Stacy unwittingly put on a show for Mike while he's watching from the window. After the opening, we go right to Howard, and we see something we've never seen before. Is showing Cheryl at this point their way of saying that they are going to have Kim in the Breaking Bad timeline, that she was there the whole time, and just because a character isn't mentioned or seen does not mean they're not there. I don't know, there's a really good possibility of this. There is a huge difference between Jimmy and Howard, and that is that Howard wears a wedding ring. So yes, we have known that Howard's married throughout the entire series because he does wear a wedding ring. But they've already covered that with Jimmy. Him and Kim never used one. This is definitely a big question in my mind. But when we see Howard, we see that Howard is looking to get out of the guest house and move back into the regular house. Howard shows Cheryl the coffee that he made for her with the peace sign on top. He's trying to make peace with her, but unfortunately for Howard, it really looks like Cheryl has completely moved on from this relationship. He brings up a charity that's coming up and kind of hints to, hey, maybe we could go to it together. And she cuts him off right there. And not only is she not going with him, she thinks she should go instead of him. And then at the end, she just gives him a really quick like, oh, and you get the house to yourself tonight because I got better things to do. I have dinner plans. So Howard's really in a rough place. He's living in the guest house, and his wife is so busy with her social life that he gets to go into the regular house tonight. What a special night for Howard. But that is the life that Howard is currently living. After that, we cut to Howard and the private investigator. The private investigator is showing Howard photos that he's taken of Jimmy. Howard's going through them kind of quickly. There's nothing really interesting in them until Howard gets to the shot of Jimmy walking out of the bank. This definitely grabs Howard's attention. He wants to move right on to this photo. The PI says Jimmy made a big withdrawal from the bank. So I have a lot of questions. Number one, all of Jimmy's money is in a bag in their closet. So what was he withdrawing money for? If they deposited the money from Lalo, then they didn't show us that they deposited it. And it's unlikely that they would deposit it because it's too much money. They're going to have to account for where it came from, and they can't. So the other thing is the private investigator, he gives this weird line. He's like, you know, I'm not a lawyer, but why would a lawyer need that money? Why is the PI even saying this? This sounds like the PI is trying to plant thoughts in Howard's head. And so I started wondering, did Jimmy and Kim manage to get Howard to hire a private investigator that they wanted him to hire? A private investigator that was actually already working for them. My biggest argument against this PI actually working for Jimmy and Kim is in the 5th episode of this season when Jimmy goes to the gym to meet Howard. Jimmy never sees Howard coming. He didn't see the name Mr. Ward. The PI is at that meeting. As soon as Howard walks out of the gym, the PI is waiting for him. So if Kim and Jimmy did hire that PI, I don't understand why the PI didn't give Jimmy a heads up and say, listen, Howard's got me meeting him at a gym so he can show me you tonight. So anyways, Howard is very locked in on this withdrawal. He agrees with the private investigator. There's no reason for, no legitimate reason for a lawyer to withdraw that amount of money. Howard feels like he's honing in on Jimmy and kind of has him caught with something. So I think Howard was feeling good by the end of his part in this episode. We go from Howard to the vets. We have not seen the vet in quite some time. And we find out that the vet is ready to get out of his black book business or to move on from his black book business. And we also have the vet showing Jimmy and Kim his black book, which they can make no sense out of. Jimmy is putting on a show as a test subject. He's putting on a show for himself and for Kim, really. See his pupils dilate to a massive size. Obviously, they're trying to get this drug into Howard, so he looks all coked out at some point. Point of note, talking about Kim and not knowing when to stop and constantly pushing things. Kim's question about the whole thing to the vet is, did you give him enough? I think that's a pretty significant statement for Kim that we can't overlook. Kim's main concern was, did you give him enough drugs? I don't really, I mean, okay, yeah, but anyways, the vet says yes, and everything goes fine. And again, we are left to put pieces together here. We don't really know why Kim and Jimmy are there. Jimmy already has the drug in him. So we could start to piece together, okay, this has to do with making Howard look like he is a cocaine addict, but a lot left out of this scene for us. After the vet's office, we see Kim in court. Kim is trying to get a young man out of trouble. This kind of brought me back to the beginning of the episode. I think Kim unwittingly puts on a show for Clifford Maine, but that's really hard to say. We do see that Kim shows the judge Albuquerque Isotopes air freshener. Then we cut to the meeting between Kim and Cliff. When I first saw Cliff walk into the courtroom, we see him peek through the courtroom door. The question in my mind was, is Cliff creeping on Kim? I mean, it almost seemed that way. And I still don't know. Did they arrange a meeting or did Cliff just pop up there? The only thing we really know about that meeting is Cliff at one point says to Kim, what I wanted to talk to you about. So we could assume that Cliff wanted to talk to Kim, But again, did Kim know that Cliff was going to be in that courtroom watching her? I know it's not a big deal, and it doesn't really matter, I don't think, whether she knew or not. It does matter as far as whether we say Kim intentionally put on a show for Cliff or Kim unwittingly put on a show for Cliff. I do think it was unwittingly. My biggest reason for saying that is the smirk, and the show is important. The show that Kim put on is important. When Cliff sits down, he is just blown away by Kim, by her performance in court, and by what she does in general, that she dedicates so much time to helping people in need when she's only getting paid minimum wage for it. Kim's a lawyer making minimum wage money. Like, Cliff is extremely impressed by Kim at this moment. And Kim gets this smirk on her face. And I think what the smirk is about is she's like, wow, that worked out really well for me. Cliff came at the perfect time. I don't have to convince him that Cliff, I'm working so hard to help people and all this stuff. It all just happened automatically for me without me even realizing it. And this is all very significant because Kim is offered something at this point. Kim gets a chance to move on. She can move on. The most significant shot in the episode to me, the shot of Kim's shadow at Saul Goodman's door. We see Jimmy uses Kim to get a final decision on the mustache. They are giving us signs, hints that Kim is completely and totally in charge now between her and Jimmy. This is reinforced when Jimmy says, will you please weigh in on the mustache? Kim gives her opinion and Jimmy's like, yep, that's the one. Jimmy could tell that Kim has some news, and so he excuses them and they go out into the front office. We are left behind for a moment. By the time we get out to Kim and Jimmy, they are in the middle of their conversation. Details that were left out between Kim and Cliff when they met, I was like, okay, we're gonna get all these details when Kim explains everything to Jimmy. But guess what? We didn't get them. They left them out. I still don't know if it was an arranged meeting with Cliff or if Cliff just showed up, but this is a wonderful, beautiful scene between Kim and Jimmy. My favorite part about it is Jimmy is so genuinely happy for Kim. He does mention that this is like getting the good housekeeping seal of approval. So, you know, Slippin' Jimmy is always there. And it's part of what Jimmy does see at this moment. He sees a free license for scamming, but beyond that, he is genuinely really happy for Kim. This is huge news for Kim. This has been Kim's goal since the episode Something Beautiful in season 4, when she decides that she is going to spend some of her time acting as a public defender. And Jimmy really truly is happy for her. And this is really my favorite part. Jimmy gets Kim to let her guard down and admit that she is really excited about what just happened. I don't think we have never seen Kim this excited about anything. As great as this scene was, as lovely as it was, as exciting as it was, it ends in a nightmare as they are in this wonderful, wonderful moment, this wonderful embrace. The cut we go to is Casper's axe coming down and splitting a piece of wood in two. So make of that what you will. The first time we see Francesca, she's really excited about all the changes she made to the office. She's proud of what she did. She can't wait to show it off to Kim. But the next time we see her, reality is kind of setting in for Francesca, and she doesn't seem too happy with the situation she's gotten herself in. Her and Jimmy head outside so Francesca can put on a show on this phone and get the information they need from HHM. The part that stuck out the most to me in this scene is the toilet. It was in the office for the first 2 episodes that he had the office, and now we see the office is completely redone. So obviously they moved the toilet out, but he still hasn't gotten rid of it. It is sitting right there in the dumpster. I absolutely love that it is in the dumpster in this scene and that we see it. Francesca tries to talk to Saul about her being uncomfortable about making this phone call. Saul doesn't want to hear anything about it. Then we head back inside. And again, we got going back to this toilet. Even though Saul managed to get the toilet out of his office is still a toilet. The dude is just peeing in the water fountain. It did make me wonder whether that water fountain was supposed to be the one Francesca was going to have in her part of the office, and Saul took it into his room. Not that it matters. The last parts of the episode are all between Kim and Jimmy and all focused on the plan against Howard as we approach D-Day. It was interesting. They're cleaning up from dinner, and then Kim walks over to the board. Kim is hesitant to cross out a sticker on the board. When we look at this board that their plan's on, so again, I've brought up a couple times how we were just put in the middle of things, and they obviously have left parts of stories out. Not always necessarily significant. The whole redesign to Saul's office could be another thing. I mean, the last time we saw it, there was nothing done to it. And then we get to this episode and it's completely refurnished. So anyways, we get to the plan, and out of all these headings, we know what the majority of them are, but we don't know what this magnifying glass or scales of justice is for. We didn't see hide or hair of these 2 parts, the plan that we've seen many of the steps. They've talked about it a lot, but yet there's still 2 steps in this plan that we have not seen or heard anything about. Jimmy wants to go to Omaha Beach, and they show us where D-Day is going to occur. They show us that it's all going down right at HHM. And here we get another incredibly romantic scene between Kim and Jimmy that I really loved seeing. We are definitely reaching the height of Kim and Jimmy's relationship. And then after that, we see Jimmy in the liquor store buying a bottle of Zafiro. We should note that Jimmy has waited a really long time to celebrate with this bottle of Zafiro. We would have to go back to the 3rd season when Jimmy convinces Irene to settle the Sandpiper lawsuit. Jimmy shows up at the offices that him and Kim are sharing. Kim is extremely busy between Mesa Verde and Gatwood Oil. Francesca is there helping her, and Jimmy's like, Kim, I got great news. He's got the bottle of Zafiro. He's kind of a little annoyed that Kim will not stop and celebrate with him. Kim does end up leaving. She does not have time for that bottle. He ends up making Francesca have a shot with him. He never got to celebrate. They actually end up drinking that bottle in the next season after Chuck's death. They kind of drink it in mourning instead of celebrating. So yeah, this bottle of Zafiro that Jimmy is buying, he's been waiting a really long time for it. It is to celebrate the Sandpiper lawsuit. And it's in buying this bottle that he sees Casimiro in the arm cast, and this blows the entire plan. When Jimmy gets back in the car, he does show us the photos that they took that episode of Casimiro handing Jimmy something. And we see Kim do a U-turn. We have seen Kim do a U-turn before. It was in the episode when Kim takes on Huel's case. So again, here, Kim is on her way to all of her dreams coming true. But Kim isn't going to make the meeting. Kim does a U-turn, and she is headed back towards Jimmy. Jimmy feels like the plan is already ruined because of the cast on Casamaro's arm. After she was caught red-handed stealing earrings, her mother still stole them afterwards. So no, Kim is not going to stop just because of a cast on Casamaro's arm. It is a little shocking that she did a U-turn on her dream. We're looking at all of the showing and putting on of shows throughout this episode, and also this idea that a lot of the characters wanted to get out or move on. Then when we saw this U-turn by Kim at the end, it feels to me like the theme of the 6th episode was actually the show must go on. That certainly was Kim's attitude at that point. There was no way the show was not going to go on. She will give up anything to make sure that it does. Do make sure to look out for my video on the 7th episode. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day.